Monday through Friday, I get ready to go to my job like most working adults in the room. The difference between me and a lot of other people is that my job is just a little bit different. I'm a social worker and therapist in the mental health department at one of Ohio's prisons. Every day on my way to work, I have to enter through 2 heavy metal doors, a metal detector, and verify my identification twice before I even get to my office. And some days on my way to my office, I'm often greeted with a variety of things. Some days it's, dang, shawty. Other days it's, hey, Miss J, have a great day. Some days I'm dodging a pepper spray cloud because something like a fight has happened on the compound. And other days, I don't see anyone other than my fellow staff members because something has happened in the institution where it's on lockdown and all of the offenders are in their cells. In more days than what I would prefer, I see individuals who walk around with the epitome of a dark gray cloud over their heads. They walk as if they believe they're nothing more than the 6-digit number that is typed on their name badge. I'll never forget when I started with the department. I was an intern in my graduate program. I remember pulling up to the facility thinking, oh snap, what did I just get myself into for the next year? I said a quick corporate prayer, one of those real quick ones. I said, Lord, please let me just go home in one piece today, and I was on my way. One of my first assignments was to assist in helping complete what is called a mental health detailed screen. This is an assessment tool used by the department to determine the needs of the offenders based on their medical, mental health, and substance abuse and recovery needs. I remember getting all of my appointments done for the day, and my last client came in. He sat down, and I started asking him questions. I said, sir, have you ever been on psych meds? Have you ever been to a psych hospital? Have you ever received mental health treatment? All to which he replied, no. I then asked him, are you currently on or have you ever been addicted to any substances? And he let out a long sigh. He said, yes, I'm currently in the middle of battling an addiction to crystal meth. I scrolled up and looked at his file and realized that this was his 6th prison number, meaning that he had been incarcerated a total of 6 times. This made me a little sad and uncomfortable because he was only a few years older than me. So I did what I naturally do when I'm a little uncomfortable, which is implement a bit of humor, and it was a poor attempt, I might add. I looked him in his face and I said, sir, you must really enjoy Chicken Patty Tuesdays and unpromising face tattoos because you keep coming back. He let out a pleasant sigh and showed that he received my poor attempt at humor and said, actually, Ms. J, chicken patties are on Wednesday, and I'm here because I can't seem to kick this addiction. I finished my assessment, he left the room, and I packed up my things to go home. On my way home, I could not seem to conceptualize why he was here. When I looked in his file, he had never raped anyone, robbed anyone, or murdered anyone. It seems as though the only crime he ever committed was a crime against himself. So I encourage you to think about a friend or a family member, maybe someone from your favorite TV show, and imagine them in prison because they're addicted to opiates, or imagine them in prison because they're addicted to alcohol, sitting in a 13 by 15 cell in a blue uniform with someone that they don't even know and forced to eat food that doesn't really taste that good. Today, I want to focus on why it's more important to treat individuals with substance addictions in our communities rather than sending them to prison. So when I say community, what do I mean by that? I mean something more than a physical and geographical boundary. It's something more than you can find on Google Maps to say that this community lies between this street sign and this stoplight. Community is a place called home. It's a place where people create memories. It's a place where somebody knows your name, your face, and your story. In communities, we have the presence of what is called social supportive networks. These are groups of people comprised of family, friends, mentors, church members, old teachers, and people who watched you grow up. The presence of social supportive networks is an environment that allows people to create positive and encouraging words and affirmations for individuals who are going through treatment. They are the people who are able to love them and help them go through a situation that is difficult. One of my favorite lines from the Black Panther movie is when Michael B. Jordan's character goes, "Hey, auntie." Now, while this was meant to be humorous in the movie, it's powerful in terms of how we think about treatment. Being able to run into a familiar face or being able to be surrounded by people that love you can help people be much more efficient and successful in their treatment. We also have to recognize that the presence of social supportive networks can increase people's likelihood to try to succeed at something that is very difficult. This experience kind of reminds me of going to the gym. You know, sometimes you go to the gym, you don't always want to run, you don't want to squat, you don't want to look at any more dumbbells, and then you run into a friend in the locker room. Or maybe you have a small conversation with someone you built rapport with at the front desk. They're able to motivate you and help you complete your goal, even if it's challenging. In addition to treating individuals in the community, we have to recognize substance abuse treatment as a growing need. Individuals of all races, all ethnicities, all genders, and all socioeconomic statuses are impacted by substance abuse in some capacity. Because this is a growing problem and a borderline crisis, we all should want to practice collectivity and unity and contribute to making these resources more accessible to individuals in our neighborhoods. It kind of reminds me of Christmas in the hood. I don't know how many of y'all grew up in the hood, but I did. You know, sometimes there's always that one family that is not sure how presents will get under the tree, how dinner will get on the table, and how they'll be able to see their children smile like other children on holidays. Somehow, some way, the community is able to tie together their resources and their time to help this family have a holiday that is memorable. We can create the same effect with substance abuse treatment. If we all contribute just a little bit, we'll be able to help people get the resources that they need. So, if we don't treat substance addictions in our community, if we don't recognize it as a growing need, we run into a problem that we have now. This problem is the increase in the number of individuals who are becoming incarcerated because they are addicted to substances. In the year 2017, the state of Ohio incarcerated 18,626 individuals. Of that number, 27% were crimes that related to drug offenses and they were nonviolent. And of that 27%, 14% of the individuals were labeled in a category that was marked substance abuse. So that means 14% of the people who were incarcerated last year were there because they were addicted to a substance. And I will say, Ohio is doing an amazing job with the resources that they are able to provide our offenders. Options for individual and group therapy, clinical and evidence-based practices, and options to be linked to resources in the community are all among some of the resources that individuals are able to gain while they're in prison. And that's awesome, but we have to look at what they lose. Individuals who are in prison lose out on opportunities to build and maintain relationships with their families and their children. They miss out on opportunities for positive development, and they miss out on opportunities to turn themselves around and become positive, effective pillars in their community. We also have to look at what treatment looks like in our prisons. Personally, as a clinician, sometimes I feel that the treatment that I have to offer is not always as authentic as it could be. There are certain boundaries that I have to put in place in order to keep myself safe as a staff member due to the nature and the environment in which I work. There's also opportunities to create and perpetuate stigmas in our prison system. When situations get chaotic or they get out of hand, it's very easy to slip into the mindset that all people are here because they have done a crime. All people are here because they have done something wrong. And as clinicians, sometimes we don't always believe that, but it's really easy to slip into that mindset. So what can we do about this? My call to action is this. I want you to create opportunity. Create opportunity to be a part of somebody's social supportive network. Even if you don't know exactly what to say, if you don't know what resources to direct them to in your community, and you might not even know what substance they're addicted to, take time to just say, I want to help you. I want to help you through a process that I know is difficult for you, but I know when you complete it, you'll be a better version of yourself. I want to help you do something that is challenging, but know that I am here to support you. I want you to create opportunity to give back. If you are a clinician that specializes in this area, or if you are someone who has successfully completed substance abuse treatment, don't be afraid to put resources in your communities that are not there. That could look like AA or NA groups, support groups, or any other type of treatment options that may be helpful to people. And most importantly, create time. Create time to learn about what your legislators, policymakers, advocacy groups, coalitions, and trailblazers are doing in your community to make these resources more accessible to people. I talk about my job a lot, and I joke about prison quite a bit, but it's because it's what I'm passionate about, and it's what I feel like I'm good at. But one day, it's my hope that I can walk into work and I'll treat people who actually need to be there. One day, it's my hope that I'm spending more time learning about the positive and growing number of resources in our communities for people addicted to substances, rather than spending more time frowning upon the number of people who are coming to prison for this issue. And I do understand that sometimes individuals commit crimes that warrant them going to prison. And unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do about that. But maybe if we take more time to put resources in our communities, we can catch their addictions before it escalates to the point to where they commit crime, and they can stay in their communities and have a positive effect rather than coming to prison. Thank you.